Two of my favorite YouTube creators, Knarb Makes and 3D Print DM, recently did a Versus collaboration about scale. This was a couple of days ago that their videos came out. And Knarb Makes' argument was for smaller miniatures, that you can have more grandiose scenes. You don't have to worry as much about storage space. You can, get things ready really quickly. And when if you're 3D printing, you can make a whole bunch all at once. 3D Print DM argued for the opposite, for the miniatures scale drift, he called it, being a positive thing because there's more surface area for painting and your art. That it's more likely that a 3D print will succeed if it's not too thin or not too detailed. So those details can be in the larger prints. So I am going to talk about that balance, that perfect scale, right in the middle, the 28mm scale. For me, the history of using the 1-inch scale and the 28mm scale are intertwined. I know that one's metric, but having a base that is 1 inch or roughly 25mm is a really good way to have a standard. On a grid, you can get 1-inch grids really easily. And so for the tabletop gaming itself, I like having that reliability on the grid. So yes, you can make the grid bigger or smaller. That's not as accessible to everybody, because one of the points for me is actually the cost. And so companies that are starting to print in the 32mm, 36mm on a scale really become costly for me quite quickly. And the 1-inch scale, the 28mm scale, I can use a quarter of the US coin. The US quarter is an exact inch for a base. So that can give me my measure if I'm carving out my own bases, or can give me kind of a starting point on a 3D design program. I like to balance the two. So yeah, it's nice on a big model to have all the detail, but I actually really like trying to paint small and seeing how much I can cram into that little space. So, but on the same right, if you get much smaller than 28mm, you just can't. I mean, a single hair from a brush just covers the whole miniature. So, so the 28mm scale seems to me to be the balance where it's as small as I can go for painting, but still have some of the details to be in there. And it seems to also be right where most of the resin printers can print a good amount of detail without failing too often. So yes, you can get more detail in a bigger model, but the most 32mm models can scale down and print at 28mm without too much trouble. So now, the trouble with measuring. How do you tell if a miniature is 28mm? Some people think it's by the nose, or by the eyes, or from the bottom of the shoe, or from the top of the rim of the base. For me, that doesn't matter. For me, what I like is being able to put it on a 1-inch base. So that means, yeah, if you have an all standing straight up character, it can be more than 28mm because it can still just stand normally on a 1-inch base. So that was it. I wanted to jump in and talk about the 1-inch and 28mm measurements. Thanks for letting me nerd out. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Internet.